Today on the Founder Shop Talk, we're joined by Nader and Ferdon, the co-founders of SupportFinity, an AI-powered recruitment platform that's changing the way companies find, evaluate, and hire talent. They launched or relaunched just a few months ago and are already making noise, enterprise partnerships, a growing pipeline, and a Silicon Valley investor at the table. I got the pleasure and the chance to dig deeper into their story, their product, and where they are taking their company. So let's get into it. I'm really excited about this one.
So Mo, Nick, welcome to the show. And before we get in, I really would love to know a little bit more about you before we get into SupportFinity. If you can give me a quick version of who you are and where you're from, like the version you will tell your friends at a dinner party or a lunch party, not necessarily the pitch deck.
Awesome. Mo, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Thank you, Abdalla, for hosting us. I'm been doing product for more than 20 years now so far. Originally from Egypt, moved to the Bay Area around 10 years ago. Been doing hiring for a very long time. So the problem myself, I love a lot of things in life other than building products. And I think it is the right time to build something with AI now in talent acquisition, because this is a broken problem that I'm so excited about. And it's part of who I am. I think I love to fix problems, like to build things. And I was missing something like the right sales partner. And I have the best sales partner now, my co-founding sales partner, Nick. So this is a little bit about myself. Other than that, I love philosophy so much. Maybe this is one of the reasons I started SupportFinity. I think there is a philosophy behind it. Chess, I'm a big fan of chess. I think I'm a kind of like chess player. And recently I bought a motorcycle just to try something dangerous for a little bit, to have some more adrenaline than SupportFinity. So this is me. I love building things, take some other risks in life. And I'm always passionate about helping people and helping my team as much as possible. And I think this is the time for everybody to be as generic as possible. We are going to be all operators. And I think that's what I'm doing every day with the team at SupportFinity.
Awesome. Love your story. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Abdalla. And hopefully not too dangerous, Mo, with the motorcycle. But
Always enough, I think.
Yeah, drive slow, stay off freeways for a bit. But yeah, no, it's great to be here. You know, quick background: I'm Nick Ferdon, so I'm the co-founder here at SupportFinity. Born and raised in the Bay Area. I grew up in the peninsula over in San Mateo area my whole life. Lived in San Francisco for about 10 years. Now live in Marin County, which, you know, fortunately is right where Mo lives as well. When we got connected, and was very fortuitous. We live about 10 minutes away from each other. So, you know, growing up in the Bay Area, like you know, I've always loved everything around here. Napa wine country. My mom lives up there. My wife and I get up there all the time. We actually just had a now 1-year-old just about a year ago, which has been amazing. A totally different challenge from all the work experiences I've done in my life, but so rewarding. And, you know, I've always been a salesperson. I started my career actually in recruiting, you know, selling, doing outside sales for quite a while and, you know, doing that grind before jumping into tech. And then, you know, have built, you know, this will be my 4th go-to-market engine, owning revenue, all in the HR tech space. So, you know, being a person, I think what's always helped motivate me is selling to people where you're actually helping. My companies have been on the case side, health insurance, like HRIS, student loans, now helping with hiring, which is one of the biggest problems going on with helping people find jobs faster, but also helping people find their right home where they can build their careers at. And, you know, selling something that I can be passionate about and selling something that's like truly helping Americans and more is really what's helped me like get motivated every single day to do jobs like this. So joined Mo last year as his co-founder, you know, after the product was built, and like really blew me away that it was delivering value already. And so this was kind of the perfect opportunity for me with just my background, what I've done, and then really like my values of what I believe in.
That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to unpack this later on as well. And thank you both for giving me some of your time today. Mo, you lived inside the hiring process, I would say, and you had like a massive scale for 2 decades of scaling teams. At what point did you go from frustrated to, okay, I need to build something different? And what was the aha moment for you to build that?
Well, I always say you would be surprised to know how broken the recruitment process is at almost every company. The smartest company you can think of have extremely broken hiring process. And we see this every day when we speak with customers. And I was living this, and I have many stories to share about that. And there is a big difference between a good hire, a very good hire, and exceptional hire. Big, big difference. And I came to many situations where an average hire had cost large enterprises a lot amount of money. Deals were lost. Customers were frustrated. All the numbers about customer satisfaction weren't going well just because one engineer not delivering the right job or one salesperson not doing the right thing. And it's not about the internal process of the company rather than that the hiring process itself was not correct. The hiring managers in general, if you want to give a hiring manager, especially at the largest companies, if you want to give the worst task for a hiring manager or a first or second line manager is to hire. They don't know what to do. They usually go to the recruiters, and then the recruiters start the process, and then there is a huge gap between what the hiring manager is looking for and what the recruiter can deliver. And the process always gets frustrating 99% of the time. Then the hiring manager will post on LinkedIn, hey, I'm hiring somebody, come here and share your resume, send me your email or something. And then the process becomes more complicated because you just got off the official process because it doesn't work. And then you will feel, okay, I will hire from referrals. But this is another type of problem, is that you are going to hire someone who's coming from somebody you trust, but is this going to be the best hire? The best engineer or the best salesperson or the best hire for your role might be in your applicant tracking system, in your inbound, and very excited about your job, and he can do exceptional work, but you just didn't see that. And this happens a lot every day. And I can tell you, from the smartest and the most popular companies in the industry till the smallest one-person shops, this is always the case. Because the process is long, the problem is not a black or white. You are always in the shades of gray. So you need AI that can identify these shades for you very well. And you need a system that is really across the board from the beginning till the end of the process, which is, in our opinion and our approach, is not there yet. And that's what we are creating at SupportFinity. We want one operating system, easy. AI is there for me when I need it. If I don't need it, I can do things alone as well, no problem. And I don't need usually to integrate with any product or any other platform, because this is actually the problem we are solving.
Yeah.
And I want a system of record powered by AI. So with the emergence of AI, I think that was the right moment. That was the aha moment, that this is the time where we need the real intelligence to aggregate all these tiny problems that accumulate together and become big, called I cannot hire. I cannot find the right person. So you talk to a lot of managers here in the Bay Area, every country we talk with, they say, oh, we cannot hire. We don't find a great engineer. We cannot find a good salesperson or a leader. So yeah, we thought about it, and we know it's not just going to be AI. It's going to be AI, application experience, and data. These are like the 3 dimensions from a product perspective, from where we thought that a great product could emerge. And then the understanding of the problem. And I think a big moat is understanding the problem and the knowledge or the experience of the founders about the problem, because hiring is not just a black and white kind of problem. If I'm having a vibe coding application, so it's just the right code or not. So I know, but in hiring, there is a big deal of experience, a big deal of understanding, and people expectations and mismatches happen a lot. So the experience of the founders, I think, is extremely important for the success of any company operating in this field. So yeah, that was the story of SupportFinity and the aha moment of the AI when we started SupportFinity, or building the product from scratch.
Yeah, and that's awesome story. And the pain, I can feel it's real. And just curious, Nick, like when Mo shared that with you, and what was your gut feeling in the beginning when you start partnership, and why did you say yes on the partnership, and what got you interested or excited about the product?
Yeah, well, I've lived on both sides of it. And so like I have been on that recruiting side where, I've hired thousands of people in a year and a half, right? And then you've been on the leadership, building a sales team side as well, right? Where you're hiring them internally for yourself. And, it's a totally different game. And like the same problems always occurred, right? Like to paint a quick picture of hiring, typically you have minimum 3 different tools maximum 7 different tools just for hiring. There's an ATS, there's sourcing, there's assessment, salary calculator, and I've had different products for every single one. And with AI coming in, I had noticed that AI was doing great things for a lot of these tools, right? Bringing it into the sourcing side, bringing it in for the ATS side. But the problem was a step above that, not just implementing AI to then build the same problem, which is still siloed tools, still like 3 to 7 different tools to manage the process. And so I've always just stayed close to the market, just being a hiring manager and just having the recruiting in my DNA. And this was the first time I'd seen it solved at the root of the problem, which is how do we not have all these disparate systems where we need to manage integrations or they don't talk to each other, even worse, and there's copying and pasting, a lot of manual work in between. Every time an update happens on one app, the next app is broken when things have to get fed over. And so I've really, really enjoyed seeing what's been going on, but I hadn't seen it actually solved the way we're doing here at SupportFinity. And so when Mo showed it to me, like, not only did I appreciate how passionate he was about it, but like just looking under the hood and looking at the product, same thing. It was that aha moment of like, this is actually the root of the problem, which is how do you get one single system that all works together in tandem, where like when you update one thing with the salary or assessments piece, it's actually going back and talking to the very start of hiring. And you just can't do that with 7 different tools. And with one single solution, everything is now connected and talking to each other and working in tandem. So it really blew me away, when Mo showed it to me.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Like, it's always good to see the passion and the partnership between the founders, as it's a very long relationship. So it's awesome. Both of you are passionate about the problem. One of the things that I think, or you can correct me if I'm wrong, it seems that you have coined the term Recruitment Automation Platform, or RAP. So what does that mean, and why does that framing, I would say, matter to your product and how you build the product?
Yeah, I can maybe share my insights about that. Yeah, the RAP, or the Recruitment Automation Platform, is the end goal of what we're building at SupportFinity. So we see now what Claude is doing for operators. So you can do a lot of pretty things with Claude. But unfortunately, you cannot do that yet in recruiting. And because of this problem that Nick was sharing, multiple tools, very time-sensitive notifications, multiple stakeholders. So I can never automate the process if many people are part of it and everyone is in different place, in different time. And of course, on top of that, there's many tools. So this is not something that Claude can do on its own. So we need to have this on top of a big platform that owns everything. So this is where we are at SupportFinity, is like, think of automation as building a pyramid, for example. So you have to have the base. The base should be there. And then on top or the tip of it should be the layer of automation, where AI can really reach to a level of automation to be, and it's up to you 100%. And this is very important about talent acquisition. I want AI only when I need it. So if I want AI to automate part of the process, which is assessments or screening or anything else, I can have like separate modules. But if I want these modules also to work together, that would be the tip of the pyramid, where AI can drive the process, the operations, which I think the hardest part. I can never automate the operations from a single system on top of Claude. I cannot do that. But the end goal, or the goal that we want to achieve at SupportFinity, is to automate the operations of the hiring itself at some point. So if I'm a recruiter, I need to be there. I will not be replaced by AI. This is important. But instead of operating 6 tools manually and losing focus, I will be an AI operator for recruiting from a cockpit that is truly built for recruitment, not just an AI Chrome extension on top of my browser that will not understand what I'm really doing every day. So that's the concept of the RAP and where we want to be with recruitment.
And I think that's awesome. That's why I'm asking about it, because that term, as well as another term, I would say, caught my eye, is the supervisory handshake, which I really love the concept, and just curious about what the problem that will be solving and like whose idea with it to bring it into the product.
Nick?
Yeah. So it was definitely a joint effort. I think, Mo hiring and scaling teams in his career, myself being on the recruiting side, we aren't just solving a problem where it's, we've done this like 10 times, and we actually still really value the human side of the recruitment process. And I think that when I see like bad version of AI in recruiting, to replace. And we like fundamentally just don't believe that that is the right process. Completely replacing the human side of things. All of a sudden it's like AI talking to you as the candidate submitting resumes, AI talking to, that candidate's AI. And all of a sudden it's just like AI going against AI, and there's no human side to it. And, there is still a human element to bringing somebody on board to your company and helping them build and grow a career there and finding the right person. And so we really believe in these steps of handshakes along the way to make sure that it's not replacing, but helping to streamline. We want to help automate mundane tasks. How can we send out emails faster for you? Because right now there are so many people in the market and there's not as many jobs as there are people. So the biggest thing right now is speed to respond. But how do you find those right people and then be able to have that human touch still going on? So, replacing interviews with that's less interesting to us. But being able to streamline those tasks to find those people faster, to be able to hire the best talent, to get them on board and ultimately make them successful faster, that's really powerful. And so we've built these handshakes along the way where we want to streamline the process, and then ultimately we want it powered though by a human. So it's a delicate touch. And I think our experience just being in it for so long has helped us realize it is still really valuable to have people manage that process, but how do we simplify it and streamline it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. We always believe in co-piloting with AI, not necessarily get the AI
Exactly.
to do the whole experience. And speaking of matching, would love to also, because it seems like you're got AI sourcing across about 2.4 billion profiles. Was just curious to know a little bit more about how does the matching actually work, and how do you stop the AI from just surfacing noise, and give you the real resources that you need.
Yeah, thank you. This is a great question. So again, it's an equation of multiple factors. So 2.4 is the quantity. This is number one, which is important. And then we have to vet for the quality. And then on top of this, the search quality. So if I don't have the right search intelligence, the 2.4 billion doesn't make sense at all. If I don't have the right numbers and emails of people, it's the same thing. However, we're never going to have a perfect data.
Mm-hmm.
There is no perfect data in the world everywhere. So how can we get around this? There are multiple approaches for this. So first of all, we have multi-channel outreach. And I think we have very interesting multi-channel outreach. So if the email didn't work, I will let AI use LinkedIn. If LinkedIn didn't work, I will send a text message to the phone number. So I'm using the phone number, the LinkedIn, the email for sure. And then we have a very interesting feature, which is chatting. And this is because we have our own community as well. So if I'm sourcing from our own community at SupportFinity, and the good thing about, or maybe the unique thing about SupportFinity that sets us apart, and I like this part a lot, is that we are not just serving companies. We are also serving job seekers, free experience for job seekers to find jobs and apply for jobs. So with this is, think of it as a complete work. You cannot just build the half of it and leave the other half without being part of it at least. So we wanted this. We wanted our community. When you join the community, you will have access to every customer using SupportFinity, and of course, every job or most of the jobs from other parts of the world, not just SupportFinity. And then I will have a lot of utilities that will help me become better. So I'm joining the community to think of it like as a small social media, a small LinkedIn kind of.
Mm-hmm.
With this way, so we have our own source of data as well, and then connecting to multiple data sets where we have the 2.4 billion profiles. So healing data is a continuous work. When we have our own community, we know where we are with their, if they are looking for jobs, if they are employed, if they are unemployed, and we have these signals as well, all this filter. So I can do this as well when I search, and it's on the 2.4 billion profiles, definitely. So I can just type my prompt, and then the intelligence will start to kick in. It will understand this, translate this to a smart query. The query has tags and descriptions for AI so that we can really get to the right type of queries, make sure that the query is well understood by AI. So we have like a a pre-data experience. We want to make sure that we understand you right, because it's a handshaking problem, as you just mentioned. And then we show you the data, and then we show you the post-data analysis, which is the matching details, matching percentage, what this person is good at, and maybe some personal details about this person to be good for you as a conversation starter or something. So this is the human touch. So that's how we have our sourcing engine, and I love the sourcing experience of SupportFinity, and I think it is very promising and probably one of the best I have seen. Don't want to say the best because I would be biased for sure.
It's okay. It's
But
your baby.
but I think, yeah, we have a lot of work in progress to do. But what we have achieved now is very interesting. And the idea of having multiple data sets and show it to our customers is very different than what other only sourcing or point solution tools are doing. So this is an engine for sourcing, and then there are other engines as well. So think of SupportFinity as a shop, a big shop of multiple products. You can only use them all, or you can use the ones you want as well. We designed it to be multi-modules, and this is also something important for the penetration for the market.
This is great. Maybe my next question, please allow me to humble brag in your behalf a little bit. So you launched in January 2026, and it's now a few months in, I would say. You got over 140,000 job seekers registers on the platform. And from what I also learned, there are 2 million in the pipeline in the first couple of months of go-to-market. So would love to just unpack a little bit of that, like how that happened. Were you surprised of how fast your growth happened and you hit that numbers really early on?
Yeah, I can take that, Mo. Yeah, I think we tried to be very intentional about how we, went to market. And personally, just coming from this space, like the HR organization in a business, maybe even more so than like any other org within a company, they buy through like ecosystems, right? And even if you think like go to the beginning of like benefits, right? And like work your way through the process, when you go to benefits, you don't go out and just buy, all your different benefits and different benefits plans all separately alone and making those decisions, right? You work with like your broker has partners, everybody comes in and helps create like this single buying process, despite not everybody doing that thing. And then you move towards payroll. And when you purchase payroll, you want like an HRIS either with that same company or through like an integrated experience. And then as you start to expand your HR purchases, you're buying through that ecosystem, right? Like you're going to your HR consultant or advisor, you're going to your broker for what's recommended or what's already integrated, you're going to your payroll or HRIS company. And so, long story short is like when we then went to market, the very first thing that we did was focus on partners. And yeah, no problem. Working with, like HRIS companies who have, a broad set of tools that they're offering, but they have a gap typically in the recruiting side. And that's usually intentional, right? It's its own business. It's something that you have to go really deep in. You want a best in class solution. And so, by going to HRIS companies like Paychex, Mitra Tech, Bamboo HR, some of the others who we're working with now, we're now giving their clients this best-in-class experience, but still offering a seamless approach. So we actually started with the partners before going directly to employers. And then you get access now to these like moats, right? Of, hundreds of thousands, millions of businesses that are already using that product, need a best-in-class solution for hiring. And now we fill that really important gap for them. And so, we immediately went out, and that was our initial focus. By doing that, we then offered this complete solution. Their teams know that this is a gap. And so they've introduced us to their clients quickly to help solve this solution because it's delivering a win for their clients. So it's not just like us taking, it's actually like a 50-50 street where they're actually delivering wins as the expert and we're helping solve that solution with the product. And so that strategy has really helped us grow quickly, which is getting access to a faster client acquisition, typically faster sales cycles, and really just like providing a more complete solution where when people are now asking for this, they can say, yes, we have it. It's with this awesome partner, SupportFinity. So that's really led to like the faster adoption. And, it was very, very intentional. We're always trying a million different things as founders, but this is kind of like the core ethos of our go-to-market strategy that's working.
I want to add another thing as well from my point of view about that is Because we have started SupportFinity to be a complete platform, we became a provider for things that not necessarily directly related to recruitment, which is, for example, compensation. So we have compensation engine, and our salary calculator is blazingly fast, very accurate, and we have this as APIs as well. So for companies delivering reports or details about salaries and sites in a specific geographical location or something, they can use our APIs. So if you thought about that, it's very important in my hiring process and during the recruitment journey, but it is a compensation business. So with that, we can have like multiple lines of business aligning together and working sometimes separately. So the salary calculator is an API. So we are selling APIs. And then we are working, as Nick mentioned, with our partners. And then we have the assessments, which is personality assessments or technical assessments, but it's not regular assessments. It's assessments powered by super AI that can really understand the answers of every candidate, grade answers, analyze videos. So the assessments business as well is part of the hiring process, but it's not necessarily a core part of it. Not every company does assessments for every hire. So with that, I think we are both like vertical when we talk about the rack and the recruitment automation, but we are pretty much horizontal when we work with our partners by delivering solutions that they don't have. So some of our partners have already their applicant tracking system. That's perfectly okay because they need the compensation, they need the assessments and so on. So this part of like filling the gaps with our partners, that was our way to get into unlock these doors. And then, of course, we passed through the vetting process, which was not easy at all, of course, with this large brands. But yeah, this is actually the go-to-market, I think, intelligence, I believe, or how we thought about it, without also discounting the walk-ins. If I'm a walk-in user, one recruiter, I want to also use a platform that I can trust right away. I can find a good subscription that I can use my personal card or my small company card. That is also very important for us. So we did this as well. And that was the hardest part for me from a product perspective, how I can manage the balance between doing large contracts, partnerships, and then welcome walk-ins at a smooth onboarding experience. So yeah, that's just my comment about the go-to-market part.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to make, an interesting balance. And speaking of the market, I wanted to kind of maybe move a little bit into the market and the opportunity in general. So like you're going after a 2 trillion global market, and there's also a lot of HR software and tools. So what was your strategy to what to tackle, Phyllis, from a market perspective? I know also there's a Middle East angle to your market, and there is like so the Saudization compliance piece. So if you can explain like the markets that you're in right now, how do you tackle them? What was your strategy to get into them, and what would differentiate you in that strategy to tackle different market at once?
I can start like with few sentences and then Nick can continue. Sure. When we started, Nick and I, we knew like I have the access to the Middle East because of my background, and he has the access to the American market because of his background. So that was obvious. And then we said, hey, okay, so I will take care of the sales in the Middle East, and then you and your team will take care of the American business. And actually, I find this a great moat because usually, and the book of every startup will tell you, hey, focus on one market, solve one problem, which is pretty right and it's accurate. But if you have a SaaS platform that welcomes walk-ins, why not to expand into markets at the same time, especially that the founders, both of them, have the background enough to penetrate this market. So we have customers from the Middle East, and we can deliver very interesting stuff to the Middle East, especially when you mentioned now Saudi. We are now having specific filters designed for the Gulf countries. Coming to the Saudization, we are now having a filter to find the local Saudis in every company and every location in Saudi Arabia. So we have around 8 million profiles in Saudi. Mm-hmm. If I want to filter who is Saudi citizen in from this database, we can do that. And I haven't seen a platform doing this. It's probably only us now. So we can deliver something very personalized to the Middle East, extremely important for them. And at the same time, the American market, which is what Nick is doing. So I will leave him to talk about the American part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think we were also just really like intentional about who our partners were, which ultimately aligned to, at the end of the day, like we're there to support the client and make sure the client has the best experience. And we're, of course, working through partners to get to those clients. But ultimately, the partners that we select, we're really focused on like the ICP of who do we think that we are the best fit for. And so as we started building our partner ecosystem, the things that we were really focused on was working with clients who are in less saturated spaces that actually need technology more than anyone else and just doesn't really know about it. So construction, manufacturing, GC worlds, these other industries where when we're talking to them, they don't have 7 different tools and we have to like rip up and replace every single one and then work on like when does their contracts end. A lot of these companies are actually coming off of spreadsheets. Maybe they have like a basic ATS setup, but they're working with spreadsheets every day. And now with AI coming in, everybody is seeing the need for a tool. And many people are seeing like, okay, it's time to upgrade my tools, but what do I go with? And this is like the perfect time where instead of building this, bad foundation of integrating 5 different tools at once, you've got 5 implementations going on. We can come in and actually offer one single tool with one super easy implementation. And so, recruiting is another area which I know, inside and out. These are some of like the best hiring people in the world, right, in the recruiting space, but they're still using outdated tooling as well. And so most recruiting products are still built for like a single employer. And so recruiters have really struggled implementing tools because nothing is built for them. And so with how Mo and our team built the product, it's so configurable where you can actually work as a recruiter with your 20 different companies and your 50 different open recs at a single time and build like lists and ways to set this up so that like you can actually run your business the way you were always running it, but now more streamlined with technology. By thinking about like who our end user is, that kind of helps drive everything. What's the product that we need and how does it configure? Who are then the right partners? We didn't need 50 partners on day one. We just needed the right 5. And so that kind of helped inform everything to build again, like, we want to try everything at once, but also this like really targeted strategy. So that's really helped inform like all of our decisions, which is like, who do we think that we're the best people for? And then what do we need to do? And how do we talk to them?
I'm excited for your approach and your strategy as well. And I like to add a couple of questions, usually back to back, because I feel like, in my opinion, is related about the vision of the product and where you are going. So if you can maybe share about where do you feel or where you take in SupportFinity, the vision of the product. And then the second question will be what's keeping you at night currently and the challenges in the last few months that you're really trying to tackle, if you would like to share.
Yeah, sure. I can talk about that. The vision is, I think, is every category usually has a winning platform. If we talk about CRM, it's Salesforce, for example. We talk about, ERP, it's SAP. But when we talk about recruiting, actually, there is no winning platform. We see a lot of like noise, and it's actually not easy because this is not a usual problem. That's sometimes challenging even for investors to know why should I invest in this tool, and I see a lot of tools, and it's not easy. So the vision is to be the winning platform in this noisy place. This is for recruiters, for hiring companies, and also from the other side for job seekers. I want also a place where I can trust not just finding jobs, but to become a better version of myself every day, find a community that I can connect with, find real humans that will help me with something. And this is like where maybe let's say the order SupportFinity Power 3 or Power 4 would be community, social community for job seekers in a direction like close to what LinkedIn is all about now. But we don't want to go there now. But this is like the ultimate, maybe one of the directions that we can think of is that the community now, we are today 145,000 members. And we see that. So why not to have social profile that really represents who I am, connect with the right type of people, get the right type of content, find the right type of jobs that match me, not me searching for them. They can be placed directly for me in a good way. This intersects a lot with what LinkedIn already does, but what we have at SupportFinity, I think it is a new modern way built entirely from the ground up with AI. And there are a lot of ways where we can do more with the data that we have. So we have some companies in the market now that are helping with AI training. So this is a big business as well, where human trains AI. So this is another type of business that we are absolutely actually already from now ready for, because we have incredible data of expertise and different areas. So we can work with foundational model companies, helping them perfecting their AI models and performing better with their every version of their AI with our human knowledge, not just human data. So the vision is to be the winning platform for everything hiring, and we call it the hiring platform of the AI age. This is a very big vision that we hope to achieve one day. For now, we're solving the problem of recruiting for companies, so focusing on this 100% with the community growing on the background, us with correct data, with the passion of people. But sometime maybe we can expand to that direction as well more, so we can be like a big ecosystem, not just for hiring. How we can do the right thing, how I can be resourceful enough for my team, how I can try be always unconventional sometimes and sometimes very conventional. You always have to be dynamic every day. One way or one type of activity will never make it happen. So you have to diversify your activity. So every day I think about what I should do tomorrow, this week, next month, next quarter, next year, and so on. So that's it.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, I just want to make sure, like, if there's anything else you like to share or talk about that we haven't covered, making sure that the people know and the audience know about.
I would really love if anyone is checking this recording is check SupportFinity. I think there is something new there that you haven't seen before. I am a product person. I've been reviewing many products in the market, and I think our product is extremely unique in multiple ways. There will be a value for you. If you're not looking for a job, you're just a professional, just check it out, check the community. If you are into the recruiting business, also try SupportFinity. It's free to sign up, free to try. And I think there is a unique value in SupportFinity for both worlds. So yeah, that's everything from my side. And thank you for hosting us. Maybe Nick, you can
Absolutely.
get your answers.
My pleasure.
about things that we don't know about you, Nick.
And I think that's spot on. I think, the thing that we think about every day is like, what's so unique for us is we have this data for every step of the recruiting process. And again, when you look at how this initially was getting solved, like there was always powerful data, but it was just in one area. And so maybe you have like a really powerful amount of data for sourcing, but that's not talking to the assessments and not talking to salary calculators and compensation. It's not talking to the actual hiring process and even like spotting like, why are we losing people at this final stage? Why are we sending out offer letters for this specific role and people aren't getting hired the way that they should be? And a lot of that could be just as simple as like the world is changing now in like days as opposed to weeks or months or years, just with the way everything is compressing. And so by having now all this data, we really want to help with everything in the process and actually have these processes talk to each other. So when we're bringing people on for this role that we hired for 6 months ago, is that compensation still right? Is the process even still right? Is the assessment still right? And we want to be able to spot these areas of opportunity and issues before you spot them and before it's too late. And so we can now do that for the full cycle. And the opportunities for us just become endless by owning all this like really powerful data and having these great clients, who we're able to work with and work with that on. So it's really exciting. Our product, we believe delivers value on day one. And at the same time, as Mo's been alluding to, like, we also feel like we're just scratching the surface in a good way. There is so much that we can do for this. Like what you could argue is like one of the most important parts of a company, which is finding the right talent who's going to work with you. And so it's really exciting. We come into new problems and areas of opportunity every day. And, again, like we love the product that we're delivering today and also just feel like we're just scratching the surface.
And I'm myself also very excited about SupportFinity, and I hope I will always be there, see the journey as it folds in the future. Mo, Nick, that's been great, and it's a pleasure to have you today. Just before we hang up, where can people find SupportFinity at the moment, and who should be reaching out to you right now, and where they can find you?
Yeah, we are on SupportFinity support.com. Think of it as Xfinity, but support. Because we want to support everyone with AI. We want to support companies finding the best talent with the right AI. And when we want to support job seekers and people looking for maybe the most important event in their lives, which is finding a job, an AI that supports them. So this is supportfinity.com. You can book a demo. You will have a call with Nick and myself or anybody from our team. And yeah, that's so easy. I'm Mo Nader on LinkedIn and everywhere else.
Yeah, Nick Ferdon. You can find us on LinkedIn, SupportFinity on LinkedIn, of course, scheduling a demo at supportfinity.com, as Mo was saying. And yeah, we're really looking forward to speaking with people. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's been a pleasure. And for everyone, we'll leave the links in the description. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thanks, everyone.